I think it's really weird that my private text messages from 18 months ago have suddenly been released now, and my name has been deliberately unredacted to cause as much trouble as possible for me, even though these text messages have nothing to do with the case, and I'm not talking about the case in the text messages.
Did you see Blake post that survivor's link? This was after she started getting called out. Blake posted a story with a link. Dead. Oh yes, it's so sick. So cold, Jameela's calling out. She's right. Just some stats and a link. Thinking about having Justin share it. Even, no, keep him away from her. Keep him silent. Keep him in Sweden. I hate her so much, Jameela says.
When the name Jameela Jamil was dragged into the explosive Blake Lively text scandal, the internet didn't just gasp, it erupted. And what happened next was something no one saw coming. You think you've seen Hollywood drama. You think you've read the wildest text messages, the salacious behind-the-scenes leaks, the A-list feuds. But nothing could prepare the world for what happened when a single name jumped off an unsealed court page and sent shockwaves through fan bases, social feeds, and straight into the darkest corners of online obsession. It was supposed to be another chapter in the already blazing Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni saga, a courtroom battle that had captivated gossip hubs from TMZ to Twitter trending lists. Lawyers, texts, theatrical accusations, and castaway industry whispers had fueled headlines for weeks. But then, the unthinkable twist happened. A name that wasn't even central to the lawsuit suddenly exploded into public consciousness: Jameela Jamil. Before this, Jameela's biggest Hollywood headlines were about fashion, feminism, and that unforgettable Good Place charisma. She wasn't a co-star in It Ends With Us. She wasn't in the Baldwin Lively orbit. Yet there her name was, etched into the pages of leaked messages, whispered in Discord channels, and plastered across influencer theories like some kind of forbidden clue in a secret treasure hunt. At first, it was innocuous. Screenshots of texts that mentioned her name in passing, unceremoniously unsealed as part of legal documentation. But if there's one thing the internet loves, and I mean adores, it's a celebrity name dropped in a juicy lawsuit, especially when the context is vague, ambiguous, ripe for interpretation. Within hours, fan pages that had previously been dedicated to beloved sitcom nostalgia were now rewriting their bios to include phrases like Team Jameela or context or riot. Reaction gifs of wide eyes, shocked Pikachu faces, and dramatic swooning became the unofficial language of Jameela discourse. But then, the tone shifted. What started as memes and snarky commentary quickly spiraled into something darker. Real-world hostility, rage, threats, not just barbed jokes or exaggerated hot takes, actual death threats. Typed, sent, shared, and reshared by human beings operating behind anonymous handles in the digital abyss. Suddenly, Jameela wasn't just a trending topic. She became a target. Think about it. One mention. One. And like a match dropped in a forest of dry leaves, the reaction was instant. Accounts with no follower history suddenly had thousands of retweets. Threads with zero context blew up. And all because people were desperate to connect dots that might not even exist. Some online detectives insisted Jameela must have been involved in the scandal. Others claimed she instigated drama. A few fringe voices framed her as a secret betrayer in an alleged Hollywood power play. None of these theories had evidence, only speculation, conjecture, and the delicious ambiguity that drives digital wildfire. And as quickly as the theories rose, so did the anger. No one really knows the precise moment when the tone flipped from snarky to sinister. But by late evening, amidst the chaos of enraged tweets, boomerang video rants, and relentless gossip reposts, there it was. A DM received by someone claiming to be inside Jameela's orbit. Watch your back. From that point on, the online narrative wasn't just gossip anymore. It was dangerous. Let's be clear, most fans never meant for things to go this far. Many started out simply curious. What's her connection? Why is her name there? Someone explain? But as always happens in the age of virality, curiosity mutated into certainty, and certainty into hostility. Threads labeled Jameela did what? Flooded Reddit. TikTok videos with dramatic readings of the leaked texts garnered millions of views. Comment sections became battlegrounds, not for context, but for conviction. And where conviction stands without facts, rage fills the void. One viral post alone, a 10-second clip of a text bubble with Jameela's name circled in red, exploded to over 5 million views within hours. No commentary, just the name, just the contextless screenshot. And the internet filled in the blanks with hatred. Meanwhile, the dark corners of the web, the anonymous forums and private servers where no rules apply, ignited a frenzy. Harsh words, sinister jokes, and eventually threats, things that should never be typed, things that no person should ever receive, especially not because their name appeared in a leaked court document entirely unrelated to them. And once a threat surfaces, it multiplies, like a virus, like gossip itself. By day 2, screenshots of threats were circulating. Some were shared by rival fan pages as evidence that the internet has lost its mind. Others used them as rallying cries to defend or condemn. But if there's one thing this entire saga taught us, it wasn't just the texts that were explosive. It was the reaction. Remember, this is Hollywood, where reputation is currency and public perception can build or destroy a career overnight. Jameela Jamil, known for her outspoken commentary, advocacy, and style influence, suddenly found herself in the crosshairs of a narrative she never asked to be part of. At its most extreme, the backlash wasn't about facts. It was about momentum, about narrative hijacking, about the primal internet urge to pick sides, draw lines, and declare a victor. In every corner of social media, commentators weighed in. She must have known something. Why else would her name be there? She's playing both sides. This is all staged. Sound familiar? This is the same pattern we've seen in dozen other scandals. But this time, the stakes felt more personal, more visceral. Now let's take a breath and talk about what really happened. Because here's where we separate the sensation from the situation. The unsealed texts that mention Jameela Jamil were part of a larger exchange involving Blake Lively's legal team, industry confidants, and the ongoing It Ends With Us lawsuit. Her name appears in a context that many legal experts call routine celebrity correspondence, messages of opinion, commentary, and industry gossip shared between friends and colleagues. But in the age of social media, context doesn't matter, only the headline does. So while some armchair sleuths insisted that Jameela was somehow central to the legal drama, the reality was this: her name was mentioned, nothing more. Not as a defendant, not as a witness, not as an accuser, just a name, a single line. But in the algorithm-driven chaos of virality, that was more than enough to fuel a digital wildfire. And once the wildfire starts, it doesn't care about facts. Because here's the part gossip blogs don't usually show you. Behind every viral name, behind every trending tag, there's a real person. A human being with feelings, fears, and a life beyond the screen. Jameela Jamil didn't start a feud. She didn't make public statements about the lawsuit. She didn't file claims against anyone in the case. Her only crime in the eyes of online hysteria was that her name appeared in a text thread that now has the internet in meltdown. And the result? People crossed the line. Way past snark and speculation, past satire and memes, into territory that no celebrity should ever be dragged into, especially not over something they didn't even initiate. Fans who once adored her questioned her motives. Strangers online urged her to prove she's innocent. And the worst of all, threats. Anonymous, reckless, dangerous. Sent not because anything real was known, but because the internet wanted a villain. And this is where our story leaves part 1. Because when a viral scandal jumps from text to threats, when fandom turns to fury, everything changes. Not just for Jameela, not just for the lawsuit narrative, but for the very way we talk about celebrity, context, and the terrifying power of online mobs. The internet might have triggered the chaos, but now the real-world consequences are crashing in like a tidal wave. You thought it was all just smoke and mirrors, right? Well, think again. The viral storm surrounding Jameela Jamil and her involvement in the Blake Lively legal text drama has escalated far beyond internet gossip, and now it's a full-blown media firestorm. This isn't just about online hate or wild theories anymore. This is about the physical, emotional, and professional toll that being swept into the gossip cyclone can cause. In part 1, we exposed how a simple mention in a legal document caused a wild viral frenzy. But now we're diving deeper into how Jameela's team is scrambling to contain the damage, how the online mob is turning on itself, and how the real impact of this controversy is playing out in Hollywood's tightly knit circle. Let's take a moment to rewind and think about what Jameela's team is up against. In an age of digital witch hunts, public figures rarely have the luxury of responding on their own terms. And with Jameela being a staunch advocate for feminist principles, mental health, and the rights of marginalized voices, her reputation is critical and fragile. When the news of these death threats started circulating, her team didn't hesitate to act. The first line of defense was the immediate release of a statement, but in true Jameela style, she didn't shy away from making her voice heard herself. The statement was direct. I am not responsible for any part of the leak. I did not, and have never, spoken publicly about the It Ends With Us lawsuit or the people involved. The fact that my name was dragged into this is not just frustrating, it's dangerous. But while Jameela's response was measured and calm, the online frenzy was still far from being contained. Her words of deflection only seemed to fuel the fire, especially when influencers and even some high-profile figures within Hollywood started commenting on her statement. The war was on, but not the kind of war anyone expected. If you thought things couldn't get uglier, think again. Because here's where the real insanity begins. As Jameela tried to clarify her position, a strange thing started happening. Instead of calming down, the fan base split into factions, each side of the debate digging their heels in deeper. On one side, there were those who rallied behind her, fiercely defending Jameela from the dangerous mobs. They pointed out how toxic fandoms had spiraled out of control in recent years and called for a reevaluation of how we consume celebrity news. On the other side, there were those who demanded an apology, insisting that Jameela must have known more than she was letting on. They circulated more unverified screenshots of texts and photos, weaving new theories about her involvement in a scheme that was bigger than what she was admitting. This divide, the us-verse, them mentality took hold in a way that shocked even the most seasoned gossip bloggers. As the controversy continued, it became clear that fans weren't just divided. They were angry. They were sending death threats and organizing campaigns against Jameela, believing in a narrative that had no firm ground to stand on. And the scariest part? Jameela Jamil was no longer just an innocent party. She was the center of an online mob that wanted answers, justice, or, more terrifyingly, retribution. So what's Hollywood doing about all this? The industry that was once the birthplace of stars and scandals alike is watching this drama unfold with a mix of fascination and unease. Sources within the film industry have said that while no one in Hollywood openly wants to speak out against the situation, there's clear discomfort about how the situation escalated so quickly. High-profile names who work with Jameela, think along the lines of Emma Thompson and Nicole Kidman, have remained unusually silent, which has only fueled speculation. But here's where it gets interesting. Insiders believe that these silences may be strategic. One source, who wishes to remain anonymous, confides, Hollywood's a business, and businesses don't want to be associated with drama that can overshadow projects in the pipeline. But these influencers, these mobs, that's a much bigger issue now. It's become a trend where one scandal can snowball, and the industry is scared it'll hit anyone close to Jameela. Is this silence a sign that Hollywood isn't willing to take a stand? Or is it a cold calculation to let the drama pass so they don't risk alienating a powerful online base? Whatever the case, one thing is clear: the industry is watching this very closely. Let's talk about the online lynch mob culture for a second. It's real, it's undeniable, and it's grown to a size that is capable of wrecking careers and lives without a second thought. When this all started, we were talking about a single court document leak. Now, we're talking about death threats, fractured relationships, and people reevaluating their online personas because of one random name in a set of texts. It's fascinating and terrifying to think about how Jameela's status was able to be dismantled in an instant based on nothing more than a mention in a legal document. The fans who supported her felt confused. The fans who didn't were unforgiving. And where does that leave Jameela? Left in a position where no amount of social media commentary can protect her from the onslaught. Right now, it's unclear whether Jameela can completely recover from this scandal. Her team is likely working on damage control, trying to distance her from any additional controversy and pushing back against the onslaught of hatred. They've called for privacy and requested fans to refrain from attacking each other in the comments. But the truth is, once a celebrity's reputation is tainted by an online storm like this, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild that trust. Reconciliation, if it comes at all, could take years. Fans will always have memories memories of the days when they rallied behind the wrong side, when they were convinced that Jameela had done something untoward. Even if it wasn't true, even if it was all a series of misunderstandings, it doesn't matter anymore. The world now knows Jameela as the villain in a narrative that she never asked to be part of. Where does all of this leave us? What does this tell us about the state of gossip culture in 2026? The line between truth and speculation is blurred to the point where anyone with an internet connection can be targeted and torn apart. And yet, Hollywood still doesn't know how to address this. What we do know is this: it's not over, not by a long shot. As long as the internet's collective eye is trained on Jameela Jamil, waiting for the next tweet, the next post, the next scandalous twist, the drama will keep unfolding. And the next celebrity name could be just one rumor away from finding themselves caught in the storm. This is far from the last chapter in the saga of Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and Jameela Jamil. And as the world waits for answers, the biggest question remains: what happens when the internet declares war on a star and the truth is no longer enough?